The sun does not set. It hangs low and pale in the northern sky, a constant, milky eye glaring over a world thawed into brief, frantic life. For these early humans, a clan of 6 adults and 3 children, the valley is a promise whispered on the wind. They have followed the great herds for weeks, moving through the sparse stogger. They whirled a monochrome of rock, lichen, and hardy pine. But here, the ground is soft, a carpet of emerald moss and flowering sedge. Shallow lakes, mirrors of meltwater, reflect the endless twilight, and across the valley floor moves the true treasure, a river of antlers and fur, the vast herd of reindeer, the Pleistocene megafauna that is their lifeblood. The old hunter, his brow a heavy shelf of bone, stops and sniffs the air. It is still, clean, free of the scent of cave lion or the biting wind that has been their companion for generations. He grunts, a sound of profound relief. They have arrived. This is the good place. The rhythms of prehistoric life resume with practiced efficiency. While 2 of the hunters shadow the herd, selecting a weak calf, the others establish a camp near a still, clear pool. A woman with a hardened gaze scrapes a hide with a flint blade, her movements economical, timeless. The children, for the first time in days, are allowed to wander, their small hands digging in the damp earth. Their quiet calls a stark contrast to the immense silence. There is no deep cave, no defensible rock shelter, but here, under the open sky, there is a sense of security. The predators seem distant, the game is close, and for a fleeting moment, the relentless pressure of survival eases. The successful hunt brings a fresh kill, and the small community gathers, sharing the raw, nutrient-rich liver. Their foresight, their deep understanding of the seasons and the animal migrations, has paid off. This is their reward, a brief respite in the long war of existence. It begins as a barely audible hum. Thin whine on the edge of hearing, dismissed as the wind in a strange new plant. Then, a sharp sting on a child's arm. A vexed slap. A second sting on the neck of a hunter as he watches the herd. He brushes it away, his focus broken. But the hum grows, a subtle crescendo that weaves itself into the fabric of the air. The reindeer become restless, stamping their hooves, shaking their great antlers as if trying to dislodge a clinging phantom. The still, clean air they celebrated now feels stagnant, pregnant. The clan huddles closer to their meager camp, their eyes scanning the horizon for a threat they can see, a beast they can fight. But the enemy is not a charging mammoth or a stalking cat. It is formless, weightless, and it is everywhere. Within a day, the paradise becomes a prison. The air is no longer air. It is a shimmering, living cloud of a billion wings. Mosquitoes rise from the still pools and boggy earth in a black, suffocating tide. There is no refuge. The constant, high-pitched drone is a drill boring into the skull, erasing foe, replacing it with a singular, maddening imperative to scratch, to slap, to flee. The bites are 1,000 points of fire, a relentless torment that never ceases. Sleep is impossible. The children wail, their faces swollen dread, their small bodies covered in angry welts. The adults, their own sky in a roadmap of misery, can offer no comfort. This is not a battle to be won with spear or stone. It is an infestation, a plague delivered on the gentlest of summer breezes. A new, silent chapter of hominid history is being written, not in blood and glory, but in the maddening misery of a billion tiny cuts. The world shrinks to the skin, the grand vista of the valley, the promising herds, the endless sun, all of it dissolves into an agonizing, intimate geography of pain. For these ancient humans, the days bleed into one another in a haze of sleepless misery, thought fragments, the complex tasks of survival, the napping of flint, the planning of a hunt, crumble under the ceaseless neurological assault. A hunter, his face a swollen mask, tries to sharpen a spear tip, but his hands tremble, his focus shattered by the whining cloud that envelops him. He curses, a guttural sound of pure frustration, and throws the stone aside. The community, their greatest tool for survival, begins to fracture. Tempers, already worn thin, snap by a dispute over a piece of meat. Something that would normally be resolved with a grunt and a gesture escalates into a snarling confrontation, a flash of violence born not of malice, but of madness. The true cost is measured in the children. The youngest, a boy not yet 3 summers old, is a landscape of infection. His scratching has opened 100 tiny wounds, and now they weep with pus. He burns with fever. His whimpers are constant, heartbreaking rhythm in the tormented camp. His mother, her own body a canvas of bites, holds him, rocking back and forth, her face a hollow mask of despair. She has no remedy. Her knowledge, passed down through generations of human ancestors, has no answer for this. This is a profound moment in the story of human evolution. The limits of instinct and inherited wisdom are reached, and a new path must be forged through sheer desperation. An older woman crushes bitter leaves in her teeth, creating a dark, wet poultice. She smears it on the child's hottest sores. It is an act of pure empathy, a flicker of altruism in the encroaching darkness. But the swarm is relentless. The fever does not break. The breaking point comes during a hunt. 2 of the men, driven by the clan's hunger and their own gnawing insanity, attempt to isolate a reindeer. They are clumsy, their movements erratic, distracted by the insects crawling into their eyes and ears. One of them misjudges the terrain, stumbles, and falls, his leg twisting awkwardly beneath him. The reindeer bolts. The hunt is a failure. But worse, the man cannot put weight on his leg. He is crippled. A liability. In the unforgiving calculus of prehistoric life, this is a death sentence. His partner helps him limp back to the camp, the failure hanging between them, thicker than the cloud of insects. It is in this pit of despair that the seed of a solution is planted. The fire, their only source of warmth, has been fed with dry wood, producing heat but little smoke. In a fit of agitated energy, the uninjured hunter from the failed hunt grabs a mass of damp moss and green alder branches and throws it onto the flames. He doesn't know why. It is an act of pure, unfocused rage. A thick, acrid plume of white smoke erupts, billowing through the camp. It stings the eyes. It claws at the throat. The clan cousin turns away, their misery compounded. But then, a moment of impossible clarity. Within the choking cloud, the high-pitched drone fades. The stinging bites cease. For the first time in days, there is a reprieve. The hunter stands in the eye of the smoky hurricane, his eyes streaming, and realizes what he has done. He looks at the green wood, then at the insects swarming just beyond the smoke sack. His cognitive toolkit, buried under layers of pain and frustration, clicks into place. This is not just smoke. This is a shield. This is a weapon. The long process of adaptation has begun. The discovery is not a triumph. It is a gasp of air in a drowning sea. The fire is now the heart of their world. A hungry, smoldering deity that demands constant attention. This is a new and vital form of resource management. A skill born from agony. They learn the properties of the land with a desperate speed. Greenwood gives the thickest smoke. Damp moss makes it last. They become attendants to the smoke, feeding it, directing it, living within its acrid embrace. Their eyes are perpetually red and weeping. Their lungs burn, and a hacking cough becomes the clan's new language. But inside their smoky fortress, the maddening whine of a billion wings fades to a distant threat. They have bought themselves a sliver of sanity, a space to think, to regret. This is the essence of prehistory, not grand battles, but the slow, brutal acquisition of knowledge that makes the next day possible. The second revelation comes from the mud. The woman with the hardened gaze watches the children by the pool's edge, where the insects are less thick. She sees how the wet clay, smeared on their legs, seems to deter the pests. An idea takes root, an association as profound as the link between flint and fire. She gathers handfuls of the cool, grey mud and returns to the feverish child. Gently, she coats his swollen body in a thick layer. The mud is cool against his hot skin, and as it dries, it forms a brittle, protective shell. For the first time, he stops his pain scratching. It is a shield, an armor forged from the earth itself. We watch, and in our watching, the fragile memory of their ingenuity is held safe. Become a chronicler with us, press the bell, and ensure the fire of their story is never extinguished. Soon, the entire clan is transformed. They move through the smoky twilight as grey, spectral figures, their humanity encased in a shell of dried mud. This is a startling leap in behavioral modernity, a conscious alteration of their appearance for a practical purpose. The archaeology of the future will never find these mud coatings, this ephemeral armor that saved them. It is a solution as fleeting as the problem itself. Armed with their new defenses, the fortress of smoke and the armor of clay, they reclaim their lives. 5 hunters organized. 2 hunters, caked in mud and carrying smoldering branches. Detached from the camp, they move with renewed purpose. Their focus restored, they are a terrifying sight. Alien figures walking through a primordial Eden. But they are effective. They bring down a young reindeer. Their coordinated action a testament to their unbroken social bond. They have real and the essential survival skills needed to live in this treacherous paradise. The injured hunter's leg is set and bound. The child's fever finally breaks. They have not defeated the plague, but they have learned to endure it. They live this way for weeks, in a state of siege, their lives dictated by smoke and mud. The valley that promised paradise has instead become a crucible, burning away their assumptions and forging a new, harder resilience. They are physically scarred, their skin a permanent atlas of healed bites, but the deeper change is invisible. They have faced a mindless, overwhelming force not with strength, but with intellect. They have looked into a hell of their own hominid history and engineered a way to survive it. As the endless day finally begins to wane and the first hints of a chill return to the air, they watch the swarms thin, the great plague of summer beginning its retreat. The war is ending. They have survived, but they will never again mistake a beautiful place for a safe one. Embers and Decos. The clan's story does not end with a great discovery that changes the arc of human evolution. It ends with a memory etched into their bones, a memory of a summer when the air itself became an enemy. Their innovations, the smoke and the mud, were not permanent technologies. They were battlefield expedients, desperate answers to a unique form of torment. But the true innovation was the process itself. The observation, the association, the application of a novel idea under extreme duress. They survived not because they were the strongest, but because they could collectively think their way through a problem that had no precedent. They affirmed the principle that the greatest weapon in the human arsenal is the mind of the group, a shared consciousness that can innovate faster than nature can overwhelm. Their ordeal, lost to the deep time that swallows all such tales, is a quiet testament to the bedrock of our own resilience. We are the descendants of those who could endure not just the lion's charge, but the madness of a billion wings. How many of our modern anxieties are simply the echo of that same maddening hum? The past is never silent. It is a current, flowing beneath the surface of all we are. But what happens when the enemy is not outside the clan, but within it?